Namaskar. As I start this, I am actually a bundle of nerves. Standards for WoW have been set very high, and as I venture into this for the first time, I'm not sure as to how I'm going to perform. So, but with all blessings from all of you, let me make an attempt. Now, you would be able to identify this symbol. It is that of the six. The word inscribed within that is Ek Omkar, and these are the opening phrases of the Mool Mantar in the Guru Granth Sahib. So let's see what else is there for us to know about the Sikh religion today. So, something about the Sikhs, it is the fifth largest religion in the world, about 25 million people. The word Sikh means a learner or a disciple, founded in the 15th century by Guru Nanak Dev Ji. The basic tenets of Sikhism are meditate on the name of God, prayer, jap as it is called, earn an honest living, and share that honest living, the fruits of labor with people. And the emphasis is on service to humanity, and those are the basic tenets of the Sikh religion. So, in the year 1699, the 10th and the last Sikh Guru, Guru Gobind Singh, called out for the Sikhs to assemble, and 80,000 of them did in a place called Anandpur. And there was born the unique identity of the Sikhs, something that symbolizes them and the values that they stand for. So, the unshorn hair, a gift of God, a comb to manage that hair, and the kada that signifies reality. It is usually only made of steel and not any other precious metal. And the kada is having no joints or shoulder marks, so no beginning and no end. Akin to the wedding ring, perhaps, the sword or the kripan is the commitment to justice. The knee length breeches, being a warrior clan, comfortable for riding and to save humanity whenever required. And these together form the five Ks: the Kesh, the Kanga, the Kada, the Kripan, and the Kachera. The Sikhs have a very casteless form of identity. All the Sikh gentlemen have the surname of Singh or Lion, and all the Sikh women have the surname of Kaur, which is for princess, and they have a casteless identity. So these two unique last names was there to symbolize equalism. The pictures of all the gurus are perhaps kept in homes, offices, and places of worship, but then they are not worshipped. They are only remembered as the gurus, listen to their teachings, and share, reinforce equality for all. So the gurus are not worshipped, it is their teachings which are listened and shared. So, as you would see in the title, there are 10 Sikh gurus and one living guru. I have highlighted some of these names. Guru Nanak Dev Ji was the founder of Sikhism. Another person who has a unique identity in amongst the 10 Sikh gurus is Guru Ramdas. Guru Ramdas was the person who laid the foundation for the city of Amritsar and making it one of the holiest cities for the Sikh religion and for others who follow Sikhism. Guru Ramdas was also responsible for creation of what is known as the Anand Karaj, the blissful union. Those of you who received wedding invitations from Mohana and Somu, you would have seen that while there was an event or a reception that was held at a hotel, the actual Anand Karaj is the wedding ceremony which can be held only in a Gurudwara. And that is a ceremony that symbolizes a blissful union. Anand Karaj. Anand is bliss, and Karaj is the union which makes it blissful. The next name that you would see highlighted is that of Guru Gobind Singh, the person who gave the unique identity to the Sikhs with the five Ks. The final version of the Guru Granth Sahib is something that he created, and the living Guru is actually the Guru Granth Sahib. So the 10 Sikh Gurus and the one living Guru, which is the Guru Granth Sahib. Now, as holy as the Bhagavad Gita or the Mahabharata is to the Hindus, the sixth scripture known as the Guru Granth Sahib is something which is very highly revered by the Sikhs. There are no gurus in human forms. All the writings of earlier gurus and those of Hindu and Muslim spiritual figures was collated in the Guru Granth Sahib. It was not written in one go, but then from Guru Nanak to Guru Gobind Singh, whatever were the teachings were put together, and it was created by the 10th Sikh Guru as the Guru Granth Sahib. Now, the Guru Granth Sahib is treated as a living person. It has its own room in the Gurudwara. It is put to sleep every night and woken up the next day. And the caretaker is the Granthi, and it is the Granthi who leads the service. Now, the Granthi can be a man or a woman, and the name Granthi comes from the Sanskrit word Granthika, which means a narrator. And any Sikh individual, male or female, can be appointed the title of being a Granthi and is considered a religious official of Sikhism. Now, although they are considered religious officials of Sikhism, please mind that they are not the equivalent of a priest. And why is that? Because the religion does not believe that there is a need to have priests. Anybody is qualified to be a priest. The place of worship of the Sikhs called the Gurudwara, we have heard of very popular shrines across the globe. We have the Kartarpur Sahib, which is actually in Pakistan. We have the Harmandir Sahib, which is the Golden Temple in Amritsar. We have Paonta Sahib. We have the Patna Sahib. We also have a very famous Sikh shrine in the Aurangabad district in Nanded. So there are places of worship spread across the country and across the globe. Now, more than a place of worship, it is actually a refuge for the homeless and the destitute. And I'm transported back to 1997 or 98. I can't recall which year that was. About 30, 40 of us took refuge in a Gurudwara in Chiang Mai during a Songkran holiday that we took. And even today, when I remember the hospitality of the Granthi and his wife at that Gurudwara, I get a lump in my throat because they served us food, hot food, when we were stuck in the middle of nowhere, unable to find our hotel. And one of the most memorable incidents that I remember is that while Rama had organized this lunch with the at the Gurudwara, Ishwar and I had Karela sabji that was actually made for the wife of the Granthi, and she served us with so much of love and affection, and that is something that is very unique to them, their service and the spirit of sharing. Now, the entry into the Gurdwara is very, very simple. There are just two requirements: remove your shoes and cover your head. All are equal. That is again something very, very unique and something that I love. There is no darshan ticket, there is no VIP entry, there is no dignitary seating. And of late, the only change that I have seen happen in Gurdwaras is seating area for senior citizens or a parking area for wheelchairs or for those who are differently abled, but otherwise everybody is the same. In the dine together, there is no segregation of gender, there is no segregation on the basis of caste or class. And this is perhaps the only place of worship which will welcome you to have your stomach full before you go for worship. And that is again a very, very popular anecdote that is there as to why this happened, and I'll share that with you in the next few slides. So, an insight into the way of life. There is no concept of renouncing one's material world, sannyas, vanaprastha. It is expected that everybody remains an active member of family and community and contribute to the good of all. So, you don't have to leave your materialistic worldly position in order to serve mankind, is the thought. There is no priest, as I said earlier. There is no religious function where women are barred, irrespective of what their age is. Everybody is welcome to participate. Accept all, discover the message and meaning of your own religion. So, if you are a Hindu, you discover your religion and become a good Hindu. If you are a Muslim, you discover your own religion and become a good Muslim, and Christian and Jew, and vice versa. And that is the basic message. And the service, spirit of service, where does that spirit of service come from? Now, it is said that Guru Nanak ji actually belonged to a very rich and a trading family. And when he was a child, he was given 20 rupees and he was told to go to the market. And his father said, do a sacha soda. Now, what is a sacha soda? A sacha soda is a good bargain. So his father was a well-known trader, and he wanted Guru Nanak to learn the family business when he was just about 12 years old. So what kind of sacha soda did Guru Nanak do? Instead of doing a bargain, Guru Nanak ji bought food with the money and fed a large group of saints who had been hungry for days. And that is what he said was a true business. Now, the Guru Granth Sahib is the holy book that is kept in all the Gurudwaras, contains such meaningful teachings of the Gurus and is worshipped by the Sikhs. Now, the lesson from the Guru's teachings and actions, and one of the ideas dearly adopted and followed are the Nam Japo, which is pray, Kirat Karo, and Vanchako means meditate in the name of God, lead an honest life, earn an honest living, and dedicate life by walking on the path of the Gurus made by us. And Vanchako is share what you eat. Now, these three pillars of Sikhism are the reason as to why humanity and serving those in need are the primary action taken by Gurdwaras. Now, let me come to my favorite, the Golden Temple or the Harmandir Sahib in the city of Amritsar. My first visit to Amritsar was perhaps in the early 70s, and even as a young boy, I had gone to the Golden Temple along with an uncle of mine who used to work in the Bank of India and was living in Chandigarh and Amritsar for a very long time. And even though I was very small to understand religion and what the whole place was all about, there was something which was awe-inspiring in the way that it was built and in the way that people were dealt with. I remember it was a very cold December morning that we had gone there, but that image remained etched in my mind, and that is perhaps something that keeps taking me back to Amritsar time and again. And I'm hopeful that once all of this COVID situation goes away, I can make that trip yet again. The last trip that I made was with our friend Kotu Krishnan, and it was a memorable one-day trip that we had there. So the Golden Temple was founded in 1574 by the fourth Sikh Guru, Guru Ramdas, and it was completed in 1604. The ceiling of the Harmandir Sahib is made with gold and with precious stones. The stairs that enter the temple are going downwards. Now, this is designed in a way to symbolize the humble way of living. Structurally, the temple is located perhaps one level below the rest of Amritsar city. It signifies that one must be humble and go down to reach the temple of God. Now, although not wanting to overpower the power of food, the largest langar seva in the world, serving about 100,000 devotees every day. Now, while the idea of langar has proven to be life saving for a lot of people, it is majorly life sculpting for the Sikh community, as even in preparing the meal, one learns many values. Now, that is why it is not just about serving, but also preparing the langar. It is engaging and gives a powerful message of unity and seva. Especially on occasions like Gurpurab or Baisakhi, you will see families gather together at the local gurudwaras, and I'm talking about all countries. I have seen that happen even in Singapore, and they begin with the preparations. So it's a very, very beautiful and a very humbling sight young men and women cutting vegetables for the dal and for the sabji, and you can see the dough being prepared, chapatis being served, and they also teach children on how to give the correct shape to the chapati and how to serve. Now, sharing the seva by helping each other and then serving food to total strangers with eyes full of compassion and mouth uttering the God's name. In fact, I have personally experienced sitting in the langar, and they don't call it dal or they don't call it roti. They address you by whatever that you are. So they will call you Virji, as in brother. So Virji roti bhenji dal is how they serve you. So it is not served as an item of eating, but as an item of prasad. So while gurdwaras have a small or a large kitchen, the one at the Golden Temple is perhaps the largest, serving about a lakh of people every day. And the kitchens function all day long throughout the year. And now this is a global phenomena. We see people serving in London. We see in the US, the community kitchens are reaching out to those who are most needy. Now, this image that you see is actually installed on the entrance to the Golden Temple or the Harmandir Sahib, and it is known as the Mool Mantar, the first words that were spoken by Guru Nanak Ji after his entitlement, and it translates to the root mantra, the mantra from which all other mantras in the Kundalini Yoga tradition are built. It contains the core of truth of creation, and its vibration is so powerful that it can change your fate and help rewrite your destiny. I got interested due to reading Khushwant Singh. Khushwant Singh is one of the most popular writers that India ever produced, and his books like I Shall Not Hear the Nightingale and Train to Pakistan are famous. But even though he was agnostic, he had written two unputdownable books on the history of the Sikhs, and that is what got me interested. After reading these two books on the history of the Sikhs, sometime in 1987, he came out with the translations of the Japji Sahib. The Mool Mantra is a preamble of the Japji Sahib and encompasses the basic belief, and hence the Mool Mantra. एक ओमकार सतनाम करता पुरख निर्भव निर्वै अकाल मूरत अजूनी से भंग गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक हो से भी सच सोचे सोच न होवे जो सोची लखवार चुप्पे चुप न होवे जे लाई हर लखतार भुखियां भुख न उतरी जे बनना पुरिया पार सह सियाणपा लख वो है ता एक ना चले नाल किव सचियारा होइए किव कूड़े टुट्टे पाल हुक्म रजाही चलना नानक लिखिया नाल। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਫਤਿਹ।